all season for the bottom club. As far as United are concerned, then, the fact they beat Spurs and Manchester City in a week, then can't beat Everton at home and then lose at Watford, does that just sort of sum up where they are right now?
Very much so. I think with the group of players that they've got and where they are, it does sum them up. But I'd be more concerned. Sometimes as a manager, you say, well, the performance was good, but we didn't get the result on the day. Well, if you look at this the other way around, I'd be concerned about the way they performed. You know, it wasn't a game that they could have easily won, but they let 2 silly goals in. It's a performance-wise, it was horrendous. It really was. They've gone backwards from where they are. So they've built some building blocks, and suddenly now they've just been taken away from, self-afflicted, actually. If you look at the times they give the ball away and how they played today, there was no one prepared to hurt themselves, to really go to another level. They were always taking the easy pass. No one was really getting forward until it was 2-0 down. Suddenly the full-backs then were hurting themselves, trying to get up the pitch, and midfield players taking a risk with their pass. So that would be concerning for Ollie. It really would, the way they've played there in the last couple of games.
If you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's coach now in the dressing room, if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what do you say to David De Gea?
Well, listen, you wouldn't go near him for a little while. He knows what he's done. He knows the mistake. It's a horrendous mistake. You know what? He had nothing to do during the game, and I think it was his lack of concentration. I played with goalkeepers, Shilton and Clements, for instance, who sometimes had nothing to do, and they were brilliant because their concentration levels were up there, and when they were called upon to make one save, they did it. 9 times out of 10, they did it. Well, De Gea here has just switched off completely. I think he's thinking, Michael, there's a bit of spin on the ball. He's possibly thinking, what am I going to do next with it? Rather than save it first and then decide that. It's horrendous, isn't it?
It's one of those, you try to analyse things that go on a football pitch, and what can you say? I mean, the pictures tell the story, don't they? It's very, very simple for a man of his... And I agree with Glenn. When I saw the ball spinning with loads of top spin, I thought, wow, he's put his hands on it, it's almost spun out of his hands. But then you look at that, it's not that case at all. He just literally misjudged it. It's gone about 4 inches lower than he anticipated, through his hands, and I've never seen anything like it from De Gea.
Well, funny you should say that, because we've seen unbelievable saves in his time at Manchester United. Nearly 300 Premier League games he's played now. However, since the start of last season, when you look at errors that have led to goals, he's joint top of the list with Arsenal's Bert Lehner. So is that a concern at all in concentration levels?
I think it is, because you could have hung your hat on David De Gea for many, many years. He was basically Manchester United's player of the season every season for a good chunk of years. And the last season or two, he slipped a bit, there's no question about it. He's still a brilliant goalkeeper. He saves a lot with his feet, but you'd have to question, what he does with his hands. Never really fancied him saving the penalty. He's not got a great penalty record. And, of course, that, table there just shows that he's making mistakes as well. So it's running right through the team at the moment.
Unfortunately for him, it's turned into goals. You can have a stat up there about goalkeepers can make loads of mistakes, but because it doesn't end up in the back of your net, you get away with it. Well, those guys there, it's not a list you want to be on, but it's turning into goals, and they hurt your team. A good goalkeeper should be saving you 14 points a year. You come off thinking, well, it's down to the goalie why we got them points. And if you've got a keeper that's giving points away, then you have got a big problem. For me, he wasn't involved in the game. Watford hardly had a shot. And suddenly his concentration levels were just zero at that moment.
Talking of mistakes, what about Wan-Bissaka's tackle for the penalty?
Well, if I'm honest, I'm not his biggest fan. He costs an awful lot of money. It's not his fault, certainly not his fault. And this is actually normally his strength. Tackling is his strength. And I'm watching the game today thinking, he's giving the ball away virtually every time he's getting it. He's very, very average on the ball. And as I say, this is normally his strength, timing tackles. He goes to ground an awful lot. And straight on the back of De Gea making a mistake, all of a sudden they give another stupid goal away through a penalty. And the game's over in the blink of an eye. And as I said before, Manchester United just don't come back. I think they've only got 3 points this season from losing positions. I mean, it's a very, very average stat. So as soon as they go 2-0 down, it's virtually impossible they're going to get a point out of it.
You said at half-time you'd get Pogba on straight away. He had 26 minutes. Yeah. Did he improve United in that 26 minutes?
Without any shadow of a doubt. He shows his quality. He came on and it looked like they'd brought him in from another planet. He was playing a different game to the rest of the United players. He sees a picture in front of him, and if you give him the time and space that actually at times Watford gave him, He can hit, he can hurt you. Look at this for a pass. That is immaculate. He's not even warmed up yet. He's hit the pass of the game within a couple of minutes of being on. And then he just proves that, you know, he knows what he's... Look, little 1-2, give, and then he goes again. And he's in there, might have done better, might have gone across the goal, but at least things were happening for United off the back of him. Again, too much time, too much space. But look, looking forward, his first thought is, can I play forward? And it's it takes out the whole 4 players, the back 4 of Watford, and Greenwood should do better.
I think Glenn took the words out of my mouth. Playing a different game, really. He's on a different level, and I had that and throughout my career. I'm sure you had little partnerships that you played with. I mean, the likes of Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Steven Gerrard, Zidane, players like that, they're just, as soon as you're thinking of it yourself, they've already thought it. You're just on a wavelength that is just beyond every other player on the pitch in many ways. What you see them, you know, how you look at them, they just do what you're thinking straight away. And there's not many, is there? There's not many players like that. I mean, you've got, in every team, you've got 6 or 7 standard, you know, some very good players, but they might be very fit, they might be just good, they might be something. But there's some people with just genius about them. And you see Paul Pogba straight away there. As soon as he comes on, he's just spotting things that no one else is spotting. No. He's different class, but obviously he's got some flaws as well. But, you know, he can turn a game.
Bitterly disappointing day then for Manchester United. Let's get some reaction from inside their dressing room with the captain, Harry Maguire.
Harry, commiserations. How did this get away from you today, do you feel?
We were sloppy. Gave the ball away numerous times, especially in the first half.
8 on and picked results out from the dead. But Paul Pogba came on. He did well. He opened them up a little bit, but it's a really, really poor display from Manchester United overall.
Okay, Dan's thoughts in a moment, but let me tell you, that takes Watford level on points with Norwich City. Still 6 from safety, 3 behind Villa in the drop zone, but an injection of hope in the arm for Watford under Nigel Pearson. So Manchester United stay 8th. They've missed the opportunity to go level on points with Sheffield United. Next up, of course, Spurs know if they win the London derby against Chelsea, then they go level on points with their opponents. What a second Vicarage Road between the bottom club Watford and Manchester United. Suffice to say, a match low on quality so far. Who's more to blame for that? The onus on Manchester United here? Well,
yeah, you're right. It's not the best. We spoke before the game about Manchester United being better on the counter-attack, and the couple of chances they've had have been on that. From the home side's point of view, I thought they would, you know, be more physical, maybe direct towards Troy Deeney, who looks as if he's slightly off the pace, still looks a little bit heavy. But both sides, to be honest, they're both giving the ball away cheaply without even pressure on the ball a lot of the time.
Summed it up in one.
Wake up, Glenn.
Yeah, I've just woken up. No, it's been horrendous. It's no other word, really. It's been poor, very poor. I mean, we were talking about how Man United have got to break a team down when they're not even get to that stage to make the movements because they keep giving the ball away. And Watford, you know, they haven't done anything as a home side. When United have given the ball away, they haven't hurt them. They've had some great opportunities to really hit them on the break when they've been sloppy, but they haven't put the right cross in or the right last pass. It's really been a lack of quality. It really has, and you can see why they're down the bottom.
One time United went through, Jesse Lingard, Glenn.
Yeah.
Should he have chosen a different option?
Well, I think if you're a lad you're on 10 goals this season and you're a goal-scoring machine and you're confident, attempt to do this skill, because this is the hardest skill. To drill it near post, round the goalkeeper, round Foster, and that near post, drill it hard. That's what's the easier option. But he's gone for the real difficulty. The ball's rolling away. It's very difficult to chip a ball when it's running away from you, unless he scoops it, Michael, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's tried to dig it out there, but there's no force to get your chip to come down. You can't get it to come down. Why he's tried that, I
actually think the skill he tried is probably the best he could do there. That's how bad a decision it was to go with the chip.
What would you have done in that situation?
Near post. Yeah. Near post, side foot, I would have... And with your right foot, you get a natural curvature anyway. You can aim for the post and it'll just bend in the near post. Going far post is very hard because you've got to go near the goalkeeper to find that corner. Near post all day long. The only way you can go over the goalkeeper there is to fake, to get him close, to take another touch, to get him to dive at your feet and dink it, or you've got to scoop it. But chipping it, as Glenn says, when it's going away from you, it's impossible to get it up and down that quickly.
Can't get it.
I don't even need to ask if he would have scored, obviously. But United's number 9, Martial, still divides opinion as to whether he's a natural centre-forward. And we saw one incident that you want to comment.
One example of great play there. I mean, he's very good outside the box, and he can score goals, don't get me wrong, but and he does fine. I mean, it's not necessarily a huge criticism on him. I'd blame Rashford for not screaming at him, and I just think you've got to use your imagination here. If he makes this run, continues his run to the near post, which most centre forwards would do, then it opens it up for Rashford to come in this area. Now, he can hit it first time, or watch the run from Fred here. He's overlapping, he's galloping into that area, and then he would have had a free shot. So I just think one person making the wrong choice just clogs the whole thing up for everybody. And yes, he's not a natural centre-forward, so you need sometimes help from your mates. Rashford should be screaming, near post, you go, clear the area. Then he gets it, and then you've got all kinds of options. I just thought they could have made more from that chance.
What does a coach think when he looks at a team, his team, and they continually give the ball away? Because you can't legislate for this, can you?
Oh, well, look at this segment here. Look at that. That is unforced. There's unforced errors. Sometimes if you've got a team that's pressing you really hard, you've got a little bit of a get out, as players. But this is a little bit of pressure on here, and Watford win it. That's where I'm saying Watford haven't done enough. When they have won it in the last third there, they should be doing a lot more with it. But this is we've only just picked a few isolated incidences. There's been loads of them this first half. Giving the ball away so cheaply. And both teams, not just Man United, but you expect more from Man United. Again, looking to pick a player out, wow, just giving the ball away. Now, you've got, Ollie, second half has got to look at that. He's either got to bring Pogba on, because there's no better way of bringing Pogba, introducing Pogba back than in a game like this. He can only make it a better game. Can only improve on that. So I would imagine he would be looking to bring him on at some stage. But he'd be getting into them individually. Improve your game. Improve your passing.
It can only get better, really, although Watford will be the happier with the clean sheets and potential points at the moment, as Nigel Pearson has his